Okay, so trying to do this. I still can't get my stylus to my Surface Pro to work, but I think I can get my finger to work, so we'll try it. It won't be perfect, but hopefully we can make it through. So again, I want you to turn to section 2.13. This is page 251. And again, if we're going to make this work, try to do these things on your own. So see if you can go ahead and try to figure these out from things we've done in the past. I'm going to pause this, so take a couple minute break, see if you can figure these out, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so hopefully you gave these the good old college try. Let's look at these. So this one is telling us, I got to get back to a pen. Increase it by 5 first. So I'm going to take my number, and you can use any variable you want, and I'm going to increase it by 5. And then it says after that, increase it by 35%. And remember, it's harder to write a formula if you do the 35% of your total and then try to add it back in. So it's a lot easier to say that that's 135% because you keep the 100% and then you add back in that 35%. And we've done that a lot this semester. So then it would be 135% of that total. Okay, now the next one says to increase it by that 35% first, and then after you're done, by 5. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my 135% because I keep the old amount and then I add 35% to it of sum total, because remember, percents going forward, you always multiply. And then I'm going to increase it by 5. Okay. C says quadruple the number. Then we're going to decrease it by 10 and then take 80% of that. So quadruple would be times 4. So I'll use 4, and I can use n if I want instead of x. Decrease it by 10. And in order of operation, if I want all of that to be my answer, I need parentheses to indicate that I want to do all of that first. Then I want to take 80% of that. Then take 80%. So I think what they want there is then take 80% of that. They're not saying what percent are you keeping. They just want you to take the 80%. Okay, and then the last one says take a quarter of a number. So that would be a fourth of a number. So you could either do a fourth of a number or maybe multiply by 0.25 or divide by 4. Any of those would take a fourth of a number. All right, add 15. Okay, so I'm just going to stick with this first one. Add 15. You could add 15 here, I guess. Add 15 there. All right, and let's see. Add 15. Then increase the total by 10%. So if I'm increasing the total by 10%, then I do want 110%. So I'm going to erase some of this other stuff here so that I have more space to write. All right, so I do want to increase this total by 10%. So I do want 110% of it. And then I want to increase it by 25% after that. So I want to take that answer, all of it, and do 125% of that. All right, so we've done a little bit of this in the past. We're going to try to apply that to real life here in a second. So go ahead and look at number 2, read that, try it, and then we'll come back. Okay, so remember when we talked about story problems, we talked about how they're telling the story going forward. So if going forward you don't take 24 minus 6, divide by 12, and then add 3, then that's not really what math I want to see. So we kind of just want to skip this. So you just want to tell your story. In real life, if you go pay $20 for something, and then you buy something maybe for $3, and you get that total, and then you do something with that, then that's the story I want you to tell. I want it to be going forward the way the problem is written, not going backwards trying to solve it. So let's look at this one. So let's see, I go to sit down. Okay, so first thing, if you work in a restaurant, right, I sit down. What do? They come and say, hey, what would you like to drink, right? All right, and so I am going to get my favorite beverage here, a pitcher. I don't know if you can buy a pitcher of pop for $5 anymore, but $5. Okay, all right. So they give me my drink. So then they come back and they are like, what would you like to eat? So in real life, I would order what I want to eat. And it looks like they are on sale for $1. Is that right? Yep. So I would order a bunch of wings. Okay, now the only thing is in real life, I might order 10 wings or 20 wings or something. So I would know the number of wings. But remember, that's my variable because that can change. I can order 1, I can order 2, I can order 3. So that's my variable. All right, so then what happens? This is my meal. All of this is my meal. So in real life, I would total that up and it would equal some dollar amount. And so in this case, we're saying we have 20 bucks and we want to spend all $20, okay? All right, so again, do you see how this is forwards? If I took 20 minus 5 and divide by this, that's not really what happened. I didn't have $20. No one took $5 away from me and divided by a quarter. That's not going forward. In real life, I ordered my drink. I ordered my wings. They added them to get a total, and that total equaled $20. That tells the story. And so in algebra, that's what you want to do. All right, so to solve it, though, we're going backwards. And so we want to do order of operations backwards. So we have parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide. And remember, those are tied, same level. Add and subtract are tied, same level. So the reason we're doing these like this is because we are doing order of op backwards. So you got to deal with add and subtract first. So there's adding here. And your goal is to bring variables to one side, numbers to the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract that 5. And I'm not subtracting 5 because the problem told me to. I'm subtracting 5 because I'm undoing my math backwards to figure out what my answer is. So I get 15, okay? So that means if I take away the drink, that the wings just cost $15, which makes sense. Okay, I'm done with add and subtract. See how there's absolutely no add and subtract left. So now you're going to multiply and divide. So what's being multiplied here? 25 cents. So I am going to divide by 25 cents. All right, so I cancel. And on your calculator, go ahead and take 15 divided by 25 cents. And you should get 60 wings. Now, sometimes students are like, well, you know, wouldn't it be 4 for $1? And so then they just take 15 times 4. That would work as well. All right, so the next step is you always check your answer. All right, so you see if it really works. All right, and that is a huge part of math because now you can actually do the math forward like you're supposed to see if it works. So I'm going to have 5 plus 25 cents times 60. So order of operations going forward is, you know, please excuse, multiply and divide on the same line, add and subtract. So I'm going to multiply these first, which means I spent 15 bucks on wings, and then I'm going to add last, and I'm just going to make sure that it uses my $20 bill and I'm doing it right. Okay, so try the next one. I'm going to pause, so try number 3, I think, on the next page, top of the next page. Again, do not ever do the numerical. I don't want you to do that. I want you to write the story the way it reads and then do algebra to solve it. So try the next one, see how it goes. Okay, so hopefully, again, you tried it on your own because, to be honest, my thinking isn't going to help you improve. So you got to try to give it your own thought here. All right, so again, I don't want you to do this because that's not really telling the story. All right, so let's tell the story. So I go down, sit down, what would you like to drink? I'm like, oh, you know, I'd like a $5 drink, probably. Let's see, what else? Then they're like, do you want a dipping sauce with your wings? And I'm like, sure, give me some blue cheese. And then the last thing is I order a bunch of wings. And again, they're on sale. And then, so in real life, you would do this. You would order your drink, you'd order your dipping sauce, you'd order your wings. That's telling your story going forward. And then, again, I have what, $20 still. Oopsie, didn't mean for that to happen. Let's go back. So I would have $20. All right. So then let's kind of figure out the math here. All right. So I could go ahead and add my, drink and my dipping sauce. That's what, $6.50 plus my wings. And then I have my $20 bill. Okay. All right. So then I want to solve this. And so again, we're going to do order of op backwards. So think about order of op. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, but remember these are tied and those are tied. So we're going to go backwards because we're undoing the math that we did forward. So let me switch things here. So there's adding in here. So I have to deal with this first. So to get rid of adding $6.50, I would subtract it. And again, our goal is to get the variable on one side, this part by itself, so that I can figure out what it's worth. All right, so I get my 25-cent wings. Okay, and then over here I get, what is that? Is that $13.50? You guys can keep me honest. Okay, notice there's no more adding. If there was more adding, like say I had a W on the right side, I might have to add that to both sides to get W's on one side and numbers on the other. But I only had one adding, So I only had to do one subtracting to undo it. Because again, we're doing order of operations. So when you do things backwards, you do them in the reverse order. All right, so now I'm undoing this. Well, how do you undo multiplying? You do the reverse, which is dividing, or you do the inverse. Divide by 25 cents. So again, these cancel. That is our goal here. And so when I divide, I figure out how many wings, and it looks like on this one I got 54 wings. And again, you know, maybe our model was wrong. Maybe our equation was wrong. So what we want to do here is we want to go ahead and check it. So I'm going to create some space here. Maybe erase too much here, but that's all right. We'll go back. All right, so I'm just going to check it. So my original equation was I had $5, I had $1.50, I had 25 cents, and I'm thinking 54 is right. And I just want to see if that really used up my $20. And again, I don't know why it likes to jump there. All right, so I'm going to sub it in. Oopsie, I guess I already did, didn't I? Oh, let me just go ahead. You could do that. You're going to multiply first, but to be honest, you can just check on a calculator. So type this all in your calculator, hit enter, and it does equal 20 bucks. So it's balanced with the other side. So I know that I have the right answer there. All right, go ahead and try number 4. We're just going to keep adding details. And again, you want to tell the story. So when you scroll down to the bottom there, I don't want you to do the numerical. Okay, so just try doing the other part where you figure out the equation and then try to solve it. I'll pause here, give number 4 a try, and then we'll talk about that. All right, so let's kind of think of the rest of the story here. So again, I'm gonna, let me erase this so I have a little more space, but we are not gonna do numeric because we want to think about in real life what happens. So sat down, I got my drink. And then they said, oh, do you want some dipping sauce? Sure. I ordered my wings. And what happened here? A friend said, just figure $4. Okay, so I'm going to tip. So here's my bill. Here's my tip. And again, I'm still trying to spend my $20. All right, so I could subtract 5 to get rid of the 5, subtract the $1.50 to get rid of the dipping sauce, subtract 4 to get rid of the tip. But in math, it's usually easier to combine things so that you have less math to do. So I'm going to combine like terms. So all of the money that I know, I'm going to combine that. So what is that? 9, 10, 50. And then I have my wings. And then I spent my 20 bucks. Okay. So again, order of op backwards because we are doing things in the reverse order. So I'm going to start with add and subtract and work my way back. Notice there's one adding, so you're going to only subtract once. And you want to have your variables on one side, numbers on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract that 1050 to get that over to the other side. All right, so I have 25-cent wings equaling, what is that, 950? All right, so to get rid of multiplying by 25 cents, again, I'm going backwards on order of ops. So to get rid of multiplying, you would divide. And again, notice there's only one multiplication here. Okay. And if you add and subtract to both sides correctly, there can only be one division at the end. There can't be more than one. That means you'd have to move something else. All right, so I'm going to take 950 divided by 25 cents, and we're going to see how many wings that gives me. And it looks like that's 38. Now, is that exactly or not? Let me just double check on my calculator here. So I have, what, $9.50 divided by 25 cents. And it looks like it's still exactly 38, okay? All right, so to check your answer, it would be real life going forward. I wrote my equation as if it was going forward. Now I actually know what I want to sub in. So I am going to, I don't want to erase all this time. So I'm going to erase this right here. I'm going to keep my answer if I can. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and sub that in to see what happens. So I have my $5, I have my dipping sauce, I have my 25 cents, I have 38 wings plus $4. And again, calculator does order of op, type it all in, and notice that it's balanced, so I know that it's right. Now, on this problem, there is a little bit of an issue with the tip. So go ahead and read number 5. And see if this person, if this really was a 20% tip. So think about how tips are done and we'll pick up there.